thank you for joining me here today and welcome in. This video is going to be a little bit different than the ones that I've made prior, if you've seen any of those. Rather than doing highlights and analysis and 3 reasons why this and that, even though it's kind of similar to that, this is going to just be me running some highlights from the Lions-Packers Thanksgiving game. Feel free to watch, go through what we did right and wrong, what we need to work on. It's going to be just me running some highlights and then talking about why I think the Lions are still Super Bowl contenders. So I'm going to be giving you all the reasons why. Now, this video is not to convince you the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. It's not even to convince you that the Lions are going to win a playoff game. This is just me explaining to you how I feel this far into the season. We're about 2/3 of the way done. We got 6 games left to get things right. And I think they will. I'm going to explain to you everything. We're going to go through the Lions-Packers game a little bit as well and talk about what the struggles have been, what's causing these struggles, and how we can fix them and how we can get back to being a top 5 team in the league again. So with that being said, every reason why the Lions are still Super Bowl contenders. Let's get started. So let's just start off by looking at the Green Bay Packers game. It was a rough game. It was pretty embarrassing. I think 99.1% of us probably all expected the Lions to come in and get a nice, easy win on Thanksgiving. We walked into Green Bay back in Week 4 on Thursday night, and we blew them out in their own stadium. It was an easy win. Other than that first, Jared Goff interception, other than that, I think we felt pretty confident the entire game we were going to win. So going from that and then losing at home on Thanksgiving to the same team that you blew out in their stadium, it's a little confusing. What's going on here? Now, there's many factors that contributed to that. The 3 biggest factors that I could just, look at, you can point at Jared Goff all you want. The O-line didn't block well, but you can also sit here and say the same thing about Goff not being able to hold on the ball. You get sacked, you get pressured, you got to be able to keep your hands on the ball, and he didn't. He fumbled it 3 times. One of them was on a 4th down, so it really wasn't the end of the world. But the O-line couldn't. It was probably the worst offensive line performance I've seen in recent Lions games, the last year or two. It was bad. Colby Sorsdale was getting his ass kicked. Penei Sewell was getting, Rashawn Gary was messing him up whenever he was on him. So it wasn't the prettiest game per se, but I would say the number one reason was just ball protection, not being able to hold on the ball. I forget. I think we had 4 total turnovers, because I think that, or was it just 3? It might have just been 3. We had 3 turnovers. Jared Goff had 3 fumbles, and then we went 0 for 5 on 4th down. And I think that includes the fake punt as well. So 3 biggest things: Jared Goff not being able to hold on the ball, Dan Campbell's just not smart move going for a fake punt on the own 20-yard line on 4th and 4. And then the third was just the slow start defensively. This is the second week in a row our defense has just really had a slow start. Now, the defense was definitely not the biggest issue today. That's why I put that at 3. I think the defense at first looked horrible. They let Jordan Love walk down the field 2 times in a row, and that's what kind of dug us in that hole. We were already down 7. And then that's when the turnover started happening, and then just like that, we're down 23-6. And it was pretty bad. So just overall, you can look at anything in that game, and it was pretty bad. The defense actually started looking better the last 3 quarters, so I'm not going to blame them for the loss. But the defense, gave up 14 points in the first 2 drives, so not good. It was bad. We were all embarrassed, every single one of us. Didn't see it coming at all. I honestly did not think. I had confidence we were going to win that game. We should be 9-2 right now, but you know what? It happens. I feel like people need to remember that these are divisional games. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Look at the Bears. They just beat the Vikings. Bears almost beat us. It's divisional games. And it's not like the Packers. People also forget that the Packers are bad, but they're still a playoff contending team. They're 1 spot out of the playoffs. The Vikings, I think they're on their bye this week or next week. If the Packers win another game or 2, they're going to be tied for that 7 seed with the Vikings. And the Seahawks, by the way, they have 3 games coming up that are probably all going to be losses. They might be a 6-8 team within these next 3 weeks, meaning that the Packers are probably going to overtake them. And we might end up having to play the Packers first round of the playoffs. It's either going to be them or the Vikings or the Seahawks. We'll see. It's looking like it could be that, but I'm not sure. It's just weird that we come out that flat. And against the Packers team, the biggest thing that was why it was so embarrassing was because the Packers were missing their whole secondary. They were missing their starting running back. They were missing A couple other players as well. I think some offensive linemen. How do you lose to a banged-up Packers team like that? I just don't. It doesn't sit right with me. Make Jordan Love look like prime Mahomes, prime Brady. Like, it was pretty bad. But overall, there's some things that need to be done. I also want to mention, you look at teams like the Eagles, the Niners, the Cowboys, the Chiefs. You can kind of look at, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't really look at the Chiefs for this. But those teams that I just listed are all strengthening their weaknesses. Their weaknesses are getting stronger and stronger, whereas our weaknesses are getting worse and worse. So we got to strengthen the weaknesses. I don't know what Brad Holmes is doing. There's guys like Marcus Peters. There's guys like who's the Indy linebacker that just got cut. There's guys that we could go out and sign and help make a difference on this team. And Brad Holmes had a chance to do that at the trade deadline. He didn't do that either. So we are getting weaker and weaker. We need to fix. There's ways we can fix it, and obviously I'm going to go over those reasons right now because there's plenty of things that we can do to help fix it. So reason number one for how we can strengthen our weaknesses is just the run game. And when I say the run game, what I mean by that is having a run game like ours where you have the two-headed monster, the best running back duo in the NFL, I think we can all agree, Jahmyr Gibbs, Dave Montgomery. Having a run game like that can help maintain drives, can help get big plays, big first downs, drain the clock when needed. Having a run game like that is so lethal, especially come playoff time in big games. The Lions are a team that wants to get the lead and keep the lead, right? So that's what they've done for most of their games this year. But having that run game allows you to just maintain time of possession. And how have we lost our last two games? Both the Packers and Bears had double our time of possession. So that's got to get fixed, and we got to get back to establishing the run game. It also allows Jared Goff to open up and play action, make big plays there, because we all can agree Jared Goff in play action is a top 5 quarterback. You give Jared Goff 2-3 seconds to throw, and no pressure, he will deliver downfield. So reason number 2 is basically just the coaching staff. Now, you can look at this how you want. When I look at our coaching staff, I see the best offensive coordinator in the NFL who has struggled a little bit this year. He hasn't been, I don't know if he's been as good, but I think he's saving some of those big plays and stuff, and stuff that he wants to use. I think he's waiting to use those for games like the Vikings, Cowboys, stuff like that. You got Aaron Glenn, who started the year so good, looked like one of our best coaches, and then he just kind of, has fallen off. Like, he just needs to get the defense back under control, and he'll be fine, and we'll all be good defensively, so he needs to do that. Dan Campbell definitely coached one of his worst games, but you know what? Dan Campbell, the entire season, has been amazing. He's been making the best decisions, going for it on fourth downs when needed. And the only reason that he didn't coach a great game was really just the fake punt, and then that was really it. The fourth down conversions I'm fine with because that's what our identity is, so I would like to keep doing that. But we got a chance these next 2 weeks. If we win these next 2 games, Saints who are banged up, and then in Chicago, we'll be just fine. And then reason number 3, and this is a big one, we're getting healthier. Now, CJ Gardner-Johnson, he posted something on his Instagram story that I saw. It said December 20th, and they had a lion emoji, so I'm assuming December 20th is going to be his target date to return. Who knows if it's going to be a couple days later, a couple days earlier. But he is going to be back this season, which is huge, and that's also right before our Vikings game. So getting him back by then would just be amazing, because I actually predicted him when he first tore his pec that he was going to be back week 16, and it looks like he will be. So I don't know if he'll play in that game. He might not even play till the playoffs, but he'll be back. James Houston is hopefully going to make his return soon. Jonah Jackson, I'm hoping, is going to be healthy by week 15, 16. Should be healthy by week 16. And then obviously Vitae, I think, is out for the year. Isaiah Buggs, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't even know if he's like a healthy scratch or what, but he needs to get back in the lineup. And then other guys as well. There's other guys that are banged up. Alex Anzalone should be back in 2 to 3 weeks. So we're going to be getting healthier and healthier. If we can stay healthy, we'll be just fine. And now for reason number 4, which this is a little bit more of a confusing title. It's the full game Lions equals the number 1 team in the NFL. Basically what I'm trying to say here, and I'm going to explain this in as much depth as I can, is when the Lions play at their full potential or close to it, they are a top 3 team, and you could argue probably the best team in the NFL. So there's many examples you can look at, but when the Lions play, I'd say 80% of their full potential, they are probably the best team in the NFL. Look at games like the Falcons, the Bucks, the Panthers, the Raiders, besides, not being able to finish drives inside the 20, 30-yard line. Those games right there were all dominated. Oh, even the Packers, the first time we played them in Green Bay. Like, those are all domination games that we showed up on both sides of the ball. Now, usually it's one side of the ball that shows up and one side that doesn't. You can look at obviously the Ravens game, both didn't show up. That was pretty bad. I don't know what happened there. It's just an off game. People thought we were overrated from that game. It was just one off game that we didn't show up to. They outplayed us. We didn't have the game plan for them, and our defense couldn't stop them, and our offense couldn't get anything going. They outplayed us. That's all it was. They just outplayed us. We played bad. It was our worst game we've probably ever played in the last 2 years. And it happens, right? It happens to every team. The Eagles lost to the Jets. Like it happens to every single team in the NFL where you just don't show up for a game. So it happens. It does. It happens. But it was one bad game. We're not overrated, so it's fine. It happens. So other than that, you look at the Seahawks game, defense didn't show up. Bears game, offense didn't show up to the last 2 drives. Packers, it was at first the defense, and then it was the offense the last 3 quarters. So basically, when the Lions are playing close to their full potential, which I know it's almost impossible for a team to play to their full potential. Like, you want to look at even the Packers, like, first half of that game, Goff threw an interception that gave them a free 3 points. Without that interception, we probably could have been up like 30-3 at halftime, or 30-0 at halftime. So, but that's about as close as you can get to playing full potential. That's like 90% of our full potential. If we can just play 80% of our full potential for, or at least like if you play 70% for the rest of the season, we should go like 5-1 to end the season. All right. So that's the biggest thing is when the Lions play close to their full potential, like 80% of their full potential, they are arguably the best team in the NFL. I would say they are the number 1 team in the NFL, and they get the job done. They didn't do that these last few weeks. They need to get back to doing that. Coaching's got to help. Players need to step up and make some plays. When our defense is, making plays, secondary's playing well, defense is getting pressure, and offense is clicking, moving the ball downfield, not turning it over, that's when we're at our best. So that's basically all I want to say for this video. Let me know what you guys thought. Please tell me down in the comments how you feel about this team moving forward and what you think we can do. I still think we're Super Bowl contenders. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.